Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack, and delighted and excited that you've been able to tune in with us yet again for another show. Now, before we do get started and look at the top 4 stories trending here in Thailand, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video and channel if you're watching us on YouTube. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next podcast is uploaded. Now, if you like listening to us on podcast player, look down below in the link in the description and it'll take you to a website where a vast array of podcast players can be found. And finally, if you like the show, if you want to support the show, you can do so by going down into the description yet again, clicking on buymeacoffee.com, and you can donate through that website. So now that's all done and dusted, let's jump into the stories trending here in Thailand. We got a couple of humdingers today, and we're going to get into the story that we covered in the last show about the soft power and the month-long Songkran celebrations they've been talking about. So month-long Songkran plan has been criticised. The National Soft Power Development Committee has clarified its idea of staging the Songkran festival for the whole month of April, saying the water splashing festivities will be held on April 13th to 15th as usual, following criticism of the plan. Critics said that the idea is impractical and a month-long water splashing event would be a huge waste of water and increase road accidents. Paetongtarn Shinawatra, Pheu Thai's leader and chairwoman of the committee, previously said the committee had wanted to promote Songkran to become one of the world's best festivals. We will not splash water only for 3 days, she said, but the whole month with events to be held nationwide, she added. The committee expects the extended festival to generate 35 billion baht for the economy, she wrote on her Facebook page. The Songkran Festival will now be listed as an intangible cultural heritage item by UNESCO, a committee member said. But it's not about water splashing the whole month, a committee member told the Bangkok Post. Water splashing activities in each province will still be held in their usual tradition, but throughout the whole country we will also organise events to promote the country's soft power. For example, water splashing will take place on April 13th to 15th in Bangkok. Afterwards, other cultural events will be organised to promote soft power in various locations in the capitals such as Ratchamannon Avenue and Lumpini Park, he said. Defence Minister Sutin Klongsan said on Sunday that if activities are to be held in all 77 provinces throughout April, there may not be enough police to keep order. Those soldiers would be on standby to help if necessary. So that's more of the story and, well, the nonsense that they brought to you in the last story. And as we brought up, absolutely, road accidents is a huge issue. And now after she literally said it would be an entire month, it's been brought back down. Well, only the water splashing will be, between certain dates. That's all we really meant. It's the usual stuff from the government here. I think Paetongtarn Shinawatra wants to be the next Prime Minister of Thailand, and she's basically showing that she can't even organise a party in April properly. So I don't know where she gets the idea she's qualified. But there is a reporter for CNA a Thai reporter who comments on the news here, and he writes about the news and covers the news here. But his comment on Twitter today, I think, clarifies and sums up this whole mess. I'm going to read it to you. This is in relation to this story in particular. This is what happens when you make exuberant but non-thoroughly thought through declarations and yell soft power at every opportunity without actually understanding what it means because it's the government's latest buzzword. And I think that sums up everything about this government and this soft power thing. It's ridiculous. Thai people don't know what soft power is. Christ, man, I've been trying to research and I don't know what soft power is. And the idea that these guys are sitting here, they're using a buzzword without really knowing what they're talking about. If you want to organise more activities during Songkran, just do it. But it's not about soft power. It's just you found a word that you think is worth somehow. You'll be able to use this word to somehow line your pockets with money at the end of it all. And that's what I figure it is. Not the people of Thailand. Politicians and local government officials somehow will be lining their pockets with money from all of this. But it won't be the local person making any money out of it. But nevertheless, that is it as usual. There you go. A month long is back to 13 to the 15, 2-3 days of splashing water, and it was a bit of a misunderstanding as always. But we'll move along to the next story. Now this is an interesting one. Are high times over for weed users? And it looks like it could be coming to an end, this whole kind of free flow of marijuana throughout Thailand. A new cannabis and hemp control bill, sponsored by the Public Health Ministry, is expected to become law next year to regulate misuse of the plant. Public Health Minister Chandlan Sikau said the bill would not reclassify cannabis as a narcotic, and its primary aim is to close loopholes that allow people to use cannabis for the wrong purposes. Under the bill, cannabis is still defined as a controlled plant, and any extract of the plant that contains more than 0.2 THC remains listed as a narcotic. The bill will also regulate the use of other parts of the plant that are not listed as narcotics but still contain some psychoactive substances, Dr. Chandlan said. He said the ministry will still support medicinal use but not use for recreational purposes, so those who grow cannabis, even for personal use, must have permission. The version of the Cannabis and Hemp Control Bill proposed by the Bumjai Thai Party in the previous government allowed a household to grow up to 15 plants for personal use. They merely needed to inform local authorities, but under the new regulation and law, they would also have to seek permission first. Dr. Chandlan said cannabis shops that already have a license can continue their business, but they need to comply with the law, for example by prohibiting the smoking of cannabis on their premises and not selling dried cannabis buds. The law will also clarify which venues cannot sell or allow cannabis on their premises. We will not shut down all cannabis shops, but they need to comply with the law. The new regulation will not allow them to sell cannabis buds for people to smoke or even have for sale equipment for customers to smoke in their shops. In the past, we did not control usage, but with the new law, using cannabis for recreational purposes will be prohibited, he said. The Department of the Thai Traditional and Alternative Medicines has finished an initial draft of the bill, which will be revised by the Public Health Ministry before the legal team and then before being presented at a public hearing next month. It looks like these hemp shops, these marijuana shops you see buzzed up all around the place that seem to have smoking areas inside will no longer be allowed to sell marijuana in this way. Now, it's still unclear what they will be able to sell. Will they be able to sell marijuana where you get too high? They won't be able to sell paraphernalia, and you won't be able to smoke in a shop. And it's going to be illegal for recreational use. So it really seems that marijuana will be, and we'll put back in its cage for a better word. I am a little bit in two minds. I think for medicinal use, yes, absolutely. But for recreational in Thailand, and considering a lot of Thailand's promotion is, family orientated tourist destinations. At the moment, you could walk into a bar on the beach, or a club on the beach, or a restaurant on the beach, and a guy could be smoking weed there beside a family. And I think that's wrong. So there does need to be regulation. And I think, of course, the last government managed to somehow decriminalise it, but didn't have any rules or regulations or laws. And I find that completely strange, but not too strange. But we'll jump into the next story. And this one now is our top story today. And yes, it's about Phuket and taxi drivers. Anyhow, Grab taxi driver beaten in Bang Tao. A Grab taxi driver has filed a formal complaint with Cherng Talay Police after he was punched, slapped, pushed and beaten with a stick by two men for picking up passengers outside Maya Beach Club on Saturday night. The complaint was filed at Cherng Talay Police Station and received by Police Lieutenant Kajong Kiet, Deputy Inspector at the Cherng Talay Station. The Grab driver explained that he received an order to pick up passengers outside the Maya Beach Club at 11:30 p.m. on Saturday night. He arrived to pick up the passengers, who he said were tourists, but was confronted by local taxi drivers operating from a queue there. One of the taxi queue drivers asked if he received money from an app to pick up passengers along the road. The Grab driver said he just moved on to park so the passengers could get in his car. However, just as his passengers were about to enter his vehicle, objects were thrown at his car. Two men holding sticks then approached. One of them said, "Didn't you listen?" The Grab driver tried to explain, but one of the men punched him once and slapped him once. The other man struck his back with a stick 4 times and pushed him. The Grab driver drove immediately to Cherng Talay Police Station, where the complaint was filed at 12:01 a.m. Sunday morning. The Grab driver was later admitted to Talang Hospital for treatment of his injuries. He suffered pain to his right ribs and apparently a leak in his lungs. Afraid for his safety, the Grab driver has since returned to Trang Province to continue to receive hospital treatment there. Cherng Talay Police Station and Phuket Provincial Police have yet to comment on the attack, which came just one day after Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin visited Phuket to witness tourism safety demonstrations in Patong, which the Prime Minister has said were vital for the Phuket's tourism image. So there it is again, the Phuket Taxi Scum Mafia at it again. Violence, violence, violence. as it continues here. And who are to blame for all this? Well, I would say every governor who's ever worked in Phuket, every police superintendent who's ever worked in Phuket, every government official who's ever been in government in Thailand. The fact that you have let this Phuket Taxi Mafia get out of control, where they feel they can do whatever they want to whoever they want in front of tourists, beating up a man because he picked up a fare that he's legally entitled to do by a bunch of scum taxi drivers in Phuket. And that's what they are. They're scum. There's no other way to describe them. They should be locked up and do prison time. No slap on the wrist with their little 1,000 baht fine and you can't drive for a month. They should be jailed and put in prison. This is what the problem is here in Phuket, is that local officials, of course all tied into these Phuket Mafia as well, taxi drivers, governors, none of them have a set of balls to do anything about it. This problem has persisted year after year after year, with nobody ever taking charge of the situation and doing anything about it. And yet again, it'll appear on newspapers and they'll start to, oh yes, we're going to fix that, we're going to do something, we'll talk with them. That doesn't work anymore. Why do people use Grab and Bolt and all these other places, taxi fares? These taxi drivers who are sitting in their queue should ask themselves, why do people use Grab? You know why? Because it's cheaper. Number one. Number two, there's no haggling involved. They see the price, 300 baht to go back to my hotel. Take that, it's paid for already. Don't need to pay anything off the credit card and it's done. That's it. Easy, simple, no dealing with fellas trying to rip you off on the side of the street, the usual. And it's about time, I think, the Phuket police and the Phuket governor get off their asses and start to do something about the Phuket Taxi Mafia scum running Phuket Island. And do something about it, finally. Take the bulls by the horn and get something done. Because I have read countless stories over the last couple of years all about taxi drivers and with this kind of behaviour. And you know what's been done over these many, many years? Zero. Nothing. That's what's been done. Nothing. And the fact that this story appears on a Monday, which is on the Phuket News, and not on the Sunday, means that people tried to cover it up along the way. And it's an absolute disgrace. And Phuket tourists who come here, foreign tourists who come here, are witnessing a man being beaten up on the side of the road for picking up a taxi fare. This is acceptable behaviour. The Phuket police haven't commented. Nobody's commented because they're all probably too afraid. You know, they're more afraid of the Phuket Taxi Mafia than they are of anybody in government. I can get a guarantee of that. Something needs to be done soon, because I can tell you right now, this is the tip of the iceberg. And with the coming season, as we more and more apps and more free people picking up taxi fares around the island, this is going to become commonplace. And I hope this man gets better. I feel sad that he has to go down and try to escape from to Trang province to, you know, make sure he's safe, because he knows the kind of people he's dealing with. And when he's a taxi driver and he knows he's to flee, he knows the kind of scum that he's dealing with. But anyhow, for people who are coming to Phuket, understand that there is always that when you get a taxi, anything can happen, because these guys are a law unto themselves. But nevertheless, we'll move on to the last story. Sorry, I'm a bit passionate about that, because I do believe it's a problem that just has never been fixed and has been allowed to continue for many, many years. And it's time the government get off their asses and do something about it. And finally, subsidy approved to discourage sugarcane farmers from burning canes. The cabinet has decided today to grant 120 baht in subsidy for each tonne of cut raw sugarcane as an incentive to discourage farmers from burning the cane to facilitate harvesting, which increases PM 2.5 air pollution. Deputy Industry Minister Pim Patra Wichakul said that today that as many as 40,000 sugarcane farmers are expected to join the programme, which is due to start in January with the new sugarcane milling season. While the burning of cane makes them easier to cut, the sugar content is reduced and the farmers fetch lower prices for their produce. Prime Minister Thavasin and his cabinet ministers held their mobile cabinet meeting today in the northeastern province of Nong Bua Lampu. The meeting was also attended by governors of 5 northeastern provinces, which included Nong Bua Lampu, Buang Khan Loy, Nong Khai and Udon Thani. Several local issues were raised for discussion, among them illegal narcotics, poverty, land rights, the low price of farm produce, water shortages and tourism potential. Since these provinces are regarded as secondary provinces with tourism potential due to their local cultural and food, the Prime Minister instructed the Ministry of Tourism, Sport and the Tourism of Thailand to develop ways to promote tourism in these provinces. the Transport Ministry has agreed to designate Bang Tao train terminal in Bangkok as a centre for the promotion of OTOP products from these northeastern provinces, while the Commerce Ministry and the Ministry of Digital Economy and Society will join design online platforms to help farmers sell their produce. So something definitely good for the northeast of Thailand right there, and hopefully the government do follow through and give these people a handout. But anyway folks, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of passion about those Phuket taxi drivers, and as always, we'll be back in the next couple of days. As always, enjoy your day and do stay safe. Take care and thanks again. But ultimately, with this story or anything else that stood out to you today, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Because yes, this is a news show, but it's also a conversation. Now keep that conversation going. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and do all the good stuff that does help that YouTube algorithm. But ultimately, my name is Kieran Mack. You've been listening to the Thai Expat Daily Show, and we will see you next time.